Hi, I'm Debra Webb. I'm the executive director of the Key Clubhouse of South Florida. And we are a program here in Miami-Dade that helps people living with severe mental illness find housing, find paid employment, reintegrate into the community with socializations, and if wanted and needed, go back to school. I'm very proud to be here today, and I'm honored to be here with one of our members, Tammy Burch, who's been a member for about a year and a half here at the Key Clubhouse, and I'd like to introduce you to Tammy.
Hi.
Hi, Tammy. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, thank you. So happy you're here today to talk to us about the Key Clubhouse, its role in the recovery process for people that are living with mental illness. And you've been a Key Clubhouse member for about a year and a half, correct?
Yes. I became a member in about March or so of last year.
Okay. And tell us a little bit, just to get to know you a little bit about your history with mental health issues and what brought you to Key Clubhouse.
My history with mental health issues is that I've learned, I didn't know it at the time, but in about 7th grade or so, I started to struggle academically, and I never had before. And what it was the depression that I still have today. I kind of started to give up, Then I kind of managed through high school and college, but I wasn't able to really put my heart into my work. I was kind of trying to avoid things, and I really felt sad because when I was younger, I always got A's, and then when my mental health started to decline, I started to get like B's, and I got a C in high school, and I just felt pretty bad. So then later on, after college, I ended up meeting with a psychologist, and she was really helpful to me. We did cognitive behavioral therapy.
What is that exactly, Tammy? Cognitive behavioral therapy.
It's a type of therapy that helps a person to change their way of thinking.
Okay.
So basically, I was thinking like a lot of negative thoughts about myself, and the objective of the therapy was to think positively about myself. So I would have homework to do and stuff to kind of change my perspective, and I started feeling a lot better. And then I was still managing, and I had never been on medication and stuff. But then once I was working full time in about 2005 or so, I don't remember exactly what the precipitating event was, but I ended up seeing a psychiatrist.
Okay.
And the psychiatrist, I guess, used the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, the DSM, and diagnosed me based on his understanding from that with schizoaffective disorder.
Okay,
And
let me just ask for some of our viewers,
okay.
what is schizoaffective disorder for those who do not know what that is? Because this is a good education for people that might have that problem and not know they have it.
Schizoaffective disorder is basically a combination of schizophrenia symptoms. So, like in my case, like delusions and hallucinations.
Okay.
Growing up when I was a lot younger, it had to do a lot with thinking people were having negative ideas about me and stuff. And then later on, it was more like full-blown delusions and hallucinations where I would smell things and hear things that other people wouldn't smell or hear, and I would have a lot of ideas about that. Like I would think like, oh, I'm smelling a dog, and so there must be something wrong with me. I must be doing something wrong,
Okay.
and there was no dog in the room, so there were a lot of symptoms like that. And I didn't really get really sick with it until I decided not to take my medication anymore. And when I lost my job, I quit taking my medication, and then I really experienced this illness that I have, and I didn't know that the medication had been helping me until that point.
Understood, understood.
So the other part of schizoaffective disorder is the affect part, which means mood. And my mood is, as my psychologist thought all that long time ago, which is that I have major depression. So my full diagnosis is schizoaffective disorder with major depression as the
Okay.
affect.
Okay. So that's a long history that you have since middle school that you've been dealing with the mental illness, it sounds like.
Yep.
So I want to applaud you, first of all, of being here and able to speak openly about it, as it will help other people maybe find help and or, find the Key Clubhouse. So having said that, how did you find the Key Clubhouse, and what has been your experience of the Key Clubhouse, and how did it help you?
Well, my mom knows a lot of people. She's been the mayor of Miami Shores, which is where I grew up. And she either knew or had heard of Amy McClellan, who's on the board of Key Clubhouse. And so one day she showed me the website, and she just thought, I was finally working on going back to work and stuff, and she thought maybe they could support me, and so she went with me, and I went on the tour, and I've been attending ever since.
Great. Do you find what kind of place is it? If you could explain to our viewers, what is it? What do you do there? How does it work?
Okay, sure. Basically, Key Clubhouse is a place of recovery for people with severe persistent mental illness, and it's really a recovery through work program. So the focus is basically on gaining job skills, mostly in one of three units. We have the communication unit, we have the business unit, and we have the culinary unit. And so what you find, or what I find when I go there, is that people are kind of expanding their job capacity by learning new skills and interacting with the staff who have, their various gifts in the areas that, in the different units. The staff are specific to units for the most part. And so for me, it was a time when I went there of starting to restart with my job skills. And that's a common theme at Key Clubhouse. It's not unusual to find people who have dropped out of the workforce and then are trying to come back into it.
Exactly. So we are more a vocational rehab, perhaps, for people with mental illness, but also we help people find housing if needed and go back to school, just to kind of be that bridge to get your life back, whether it be housing, occupation, education, spiritualism. Mental wellness is basically our goal, correct?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I think that my understanding is that the biggest focus is on recovery through work, But I guess it's important to say that, yes, there are different avenues. Like for some people, they'll want to do the work at Key Clubhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Like they might want to help cook lunch or whatever's going on, but they might not at the present time have the goal of going to paid work, So there are different ways that people can recover there.
Right. And I know a lot of times in the clubhouse, just to give the viewers a picture of it, like you come in for the yoga classes. So that's part of the mental wellness part of it. And I've joined you in the yoga classes before, of course. And we have walk it off after lunch, or dance it off if it's raining. And we have a gym that people can participate 3 days a week and work out and to get their body physically healthy as well as their mind. So at the Key Clubhouse, it's a very holistic approach to helping people with mental illness get their life back. And in the areas that I formally mentioned, spirituality, the physical well-being, whether it be exercise, healthy eating, which we're starting. We do have a commercial kitchen that the members and the staff work together to cook breakfast, lunch, sometimes our employment dinners. So it's a very holistic approach to helping people with mental illnesses achieve their goals in life. Tammy, I know that we had placed you in a transitional employment position. And so you are now working, which is a big thing for you because you wanted to get back to work because you hadn't worked since what year?
About 2016.
Okay, so that's about 7 years. So tell us about this job that Key Clubhouse placed you in and how that's going.
Okay. So yes, Key Clubhouse placed me in a transitional employment position. Transitional employment is 1 out of 3 levels of employment that Key Clubhouse helps members to have. There's also supported and independent employment. Transitional employment basically is characterized by the fact that you're my placement manager. So if I am sick, I can call you, and what happens is, hopefully if it's like a weekday and I'm supposed to work, you would hopefully be able to go in. And the reason that staff at Key Clubhouse can, or the executive director, you can fill in for people in transitional employment positions like me, is that usually you have trained with me when I first started to learn the job that I'm doing. It's kind of like we both know the job,
Correct.
That's how it usually works. So basically, transitional employment is usually about 6 to 9 months in length, and for an individual member. But the goal is for Key Clubhouse to maintain partnerships in the community with the employers who have transitional employment openings, and then my job is not just an opportunity for me. It's also for all the members who have come before me and who will come after me in the same position, who might have been out of work for a long time like myself, or might be new in the job market and need to build their resume. It's really beneficial, I think, and it's a nice model to have. And one of the reasons that Key Clubhouse offers transitional employment is because a lot of people who struggle with mental illness would maybe kind of like fall off the raft when it comes to whatever support they're receiving. They might not be able to keep receiving a housing voucher if they're receiving help with housing. There's kind of like a pattern that people with mental illness often have of like returning to prison and only being able to receive mental health support while they're in prison and stuff like that. So there's sort of like a problem of not being able to be consistent on the road to recovery, which I've kind of been learning about in different ways. So anyway, what transitional employment offers is the fact that you would go into work for me, you would be paid by Key Clubhouse on the day that you went in. So my employer wouldn't have to pay you, but they would have someone who knew the position filling in for the position. And so it's beneficial not just to my employer, but it's beneficial to all the members of Key Clubhouse, because we have more than one transitional employment position. I'm just in one of them. A lot of members hopefully will be able to be employed that way.
Correct. And one of the purposes of transitional employment for clubhouses. And by the way, clubhouses, there's 330 of us around the world. It's an international model. We all do offer transitional employment to people with mental illnesses, supported and independent. But one of the reasons why transitional employment was created for people with mental illness is because the highest population, or the largest population of people that receive government assistance are people with mental illnesses, mainly because it's hard to keep a job due to their illness. No fault of their own, but due to their illness and having a high percentage of absenteeism. So a transitional employment position offers the person with mental illness an opportunity to get a job and also have a safety net to keep that job. And that gives them the ultimate support of maintaining employment for longer periods of time, giving them the chance to reintegrate back into a more long-term employment position. Having said that, Tammy, how are you feeling about working since you've gone back to work? What has it done for you in terms of how you feel about yourself?
Well, it's caused me to be a lot stronger in my own recovery. I guess because I'm fortunate enough to work at a behavioral health not-for-profit. It's called Fresh Start of Miami-Dade Incorporated. And the members there who I work with come to their drop-in center, and they all have behavioral, mental or emotional wellness challenges. So since I work with them, I get to think about, well, I wonder what about wellness or what about behavioral health they would be able to benefit from, so I get to think about as best I can, not just my own recovery and sort of stabilization in becoming more and more well, but I also get to think about, the people who I'm speaking with, and I get to usually introduce a topic, and then hopefully spark a conversation and get people thinking about, especially according to the Wellness Recovery Action Plan model, to get people thinking about what they're like when they're feeling well, which is part of RAP. I think that what I'm working on as far as my professional growth with this position is I'm trying to become a certified recovery peer specialist.
Okay, beautiful.
And what certified recovery peer specialists do, which I'm kind of getting used to, having been the point of this job as far as my profession, is they utilize their life skills from having struggled with their mental illness or substance use, depending on which type of peer specialist one is going to be. They learn to use what they've learned about recovering to benefit others. So they might be supportive, they might guide people in thinking differently so that they can function better, stuff like that. So I'm learning that kind of thing.
Great. So it's kind of a great fit for you to become a peer specialist because you're a person with a lived experience, right? And you can help others in their perspective of wellness. That sounds fabulous. We are always looking for employers in the community to partner with us. We're very grateful to the Kaseya Arena, who's employed a few of our members. We Hard Rock Stadium, the Marlins, Publix, Siegel Clinical Trials. We've been very very grateful for these employers that have helped our people go back to work. If there isn't anybody that's out there that would like to partner with the Key Clubhouse and help people with mental illnesses get back to work, please call us. Our number is 305 693-3508. And we are located at 8301 Northwest 27th Avenue in Miami. We partner with Carrefour Supportive Housing, which we do have 40 apartments on top of the clubhouse. And so we're able to provide some housing for people that are looking for housing as well. And so that's been a great benefit to Miami-Dade as well. Would you like to add anything, Tammy, to any words to anybody that might be watching at how Key Clubhouse could help them if they're having symptoms like you had or having some issues with their mental wellness? Would you like to make some comments?
Yeah, sure. Basically, what I think is that if you're struggling and you think you might have a mental illness, then what you can do is you can see your psychiatrist, you can find a psychiatrist, and if that psychiatrist feels that you have a mental illness, then you can have them fill something out, and then you can become a Key Clubhouse member. And Key Clubhouse can really help with building confidence. It can help you if you're like me and you think you want to benefit other people who struggle as you do. You know, it's a place where you can have friendships with people who have something in common with you. It's a place that focuses on breaking the stigma against mental illness. Like I've learned in my job that there's oftentimes both an internal stigma and the stigma that comes from other people, you know, and basically there are a lot of different ways in which being around people who have mental illnesses can foster personal growth, and then the staff are there to support you in building your job skills. So for a lot of people with mental illness, it's like they're just at the end of their rope, you know, and when they have the support of being able to build the skills to go back to work and stuff, then it's like going through Key Clubhouse's support can cause someone to live a more normal life, to be better adjusted to society, really.
Thank you for those kind words. Also, one of the things that we also recognize as part of an international network of people is that isolation and loneliness becomes the problem a lot with people that are living with mental illness. And it's the interaction that is needed and to help them build that confidence. So this weekend we were the recipient of some complimentary tickets to the Marlins game on 4th of July, which we do socials on the weekends and 2 socials a month in the clubhouse. So we'll be celebrating 4th of July, and that's thanks to the mayor's office, Mayor Daniela Levine Cava. So I want to thank you for that. I also want to mention that you can get more information about Key Clubhouse by going to our website. It's keyclubhouse.org. Again, keyclubhouse.org. And there's a referral form on there if you know of somebody or have a loved one that's in need of support and wants to be part of a community that offers hope, empowerment, and acceptance. Please get in touch with us. We're always happy to open our doors to people in need. And I'd like to thank the Miami Community Newspapers for putting on this video podcast, and Tammy for joining us today. And we're here to help. So thank you very much and have a good weekend.